What's up, everybody? JP here at the Leprechaun Fantasy Workshop. We are here to do some painting of the Reaper Bones 5. I'm very excited and happy to get to this stuff. Been waiting a long time for it. Got everything set up here. We got quite a bit of stuff. I did want to show you. I did paint one of the pieces already. These things are highly detailed, great to paint. So I've done a bunch of priming on a whole bunch of stuff, and we're gonna get into it. The whole table's covered in stuff to paint today, so we're gonna do like a speed painting of how I go through this piece here. I mean, I had to assemble it and like that, and gluing it and all that stuff. It only took a matter of less than an hour to paint it all. So it's about technique and about kind of knowing what you're doing and what you want to do, and you can get a bunch of stuff done really quick. So we're gonna get into it because, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff painting and I don't want to take all day, and maybe we'll pick something up. So hit me up in the comments. You want to slow down, you want to see a technique, see what I'm doing, want to have a question, comment, concern, all that good stuff. We're gonna get into it. So alrighty, let's change the camera over so you guys can see the actual desktop, and we will get into it. Alright guys, so first off, for whatever reason our camera is frozen, so give me 1 second to get the second camera working. Bear with me here. Camera 2 has frozen. It's good times. You can plan all the time in the world, but, stuff happens. So give me 1 second, we'll have it up and running. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So, let's get some light on the subject. Alright, so to first give you guys a look of the piece here, it is a drawbridge, broken drawbridge kind of thing. Very awesome piece. I mean, the detail and the modeling is just outstanding. If you follow us on Instagram, this one's we posted this, I think, yesterday. So, pretty cool. Pretty awesome model. But that one's kind of done now, so we're going to get into some other stuff. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got, Rune Stones. More Rune Stones that has, a skeleton on it. We've got, some sort of, witch's altar. I gotta trying to keep some of this stuff together. So there's a dwarven set. So this is a dwarven arch, a dwarven statue, and then there's where's the other piece? There's 3 parts to this. It's I think of it like Lord of the Rings, like Balwin's tomb. So here's the actual skeleton. It goes inside, and then you have the sarcophagus top. So a dwarven sarcophagus. I don't want to keep this in there yet because obviously I want to be able to paint the detail, and then we'll put it in there, and it'll probably become a permanent thing just because I don't see why I would not have it in there. I mean, it'll shut with the other thing on top of it. And there's a dwarven book. So if I were to do a Lord of the Rings playthrough, already I've got a great set. I've got Balwin's tomb. I've got the book. I forget what it is. I'm not going to pronounce it because I'll just butcher it. Yeah. So there's just kind of cool ring wraith kind of. Since it's all black, I know it's difficult to see the detail. As we paint it, more detail will pop. But it's almost like a ring wraith holding an orb of some sort. It's really kind of cool. So got that. For this pit, you can have it empty, or there's a pit of skeletons. When the camera wants to zoom in, that's better there. So once I dry, this is gonna be a dry brushing technique, and we'll make all those skeletons actually pop. You'll be able to see the detail, and that just pops right in there. And so you've got like a, you know, a pit of, you know, dead or offerings or whatever to some evil deity, whatever, what have you. This is actually a base for a giant spider. And when I say giant, I'm talking like Angoliant or Shelob, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. It actually like it covers this whole base entirely. I don't think I'm gonna get to the spider today, but I do want to get the base done. And then this is another set to another spider. So you have a, sorry, I'm trying to get the whole thing in camera. You have a mummified or wrapped up individual hanging, because it'd be, you know, vertical. And then, you know, there's a bunch of spiders that will fit on here, and you can see like little skeletons and that kind of stuff. And then just a couple pieces of ruin. So you never have too many pieces of scatterbrained ruin. So we're gonna get into this. Reaper Bones doesn't come in this black, obviously. It comes in like a gray color. I spray paint everything black whenever I get a model to start with. The first thing we're gonna go with is I like to paint. I paint like I'm dressing. You know, you start with the undercoat first. You start with your underclothes and you work your way up. So that's kind of how we're gonna do. We're gonna do everything for the most part, except for like the skeletons, and everything's gonna be a dark gray to begin with, and then we're gonna add more gray and other colors in there to add more detail and make them all unique. Should be fun, should be cool. So we're gonna get into it. Gotta decide on what brush I want to use. I think I'm just gonna use like a inch brush, because I'm not doing any detail work at all. I'm just getting a low color on here, and this is not gonna be much of color. You guys probably not gonna notice this all that much, just because again, this is just the base coat, and then I want that black, the undercoat, to be part of my paint. So when I paint, I use a lot of like folk art. These bottles you can get at like Michael's, Pat Catan's, your typical craft store, Joann's. That's all I use. I'll be using this probably for the skeleton, Dwarven Bronze. You know, it's Mark D&D from Army Painter. I have some of those, like I use skeleton. The skeleton, there you go, skeleton bone from Army Painter, but I generally go with craft paint for everything else. It's cheaper, it comes in larger quantities. I think this bottle here costs as much as, you know, one of these bottles, for the most part. It's just not exactly cost effective in my opinion. So we're gonna get into it. And welcome everybody to stream. Yeah, Army Painter. I love Army Painter, honestly. If you want to paint skeletons, skeleton bone is. I have like bottles of this just everywhere. I think I have like 4 or 5 bottles. I did do an undead army. If you check me out on Instagram, I had like a 500 piece undead army that I built out of on my 3D printers, and I mean I went through like 2 bottles of that. So here's what I'm doing. You guys can't see this, but I use these rags that I get. They're from Mainstays. You get them at Walmart. They come in a pack of like 10 for like $3. I don't like using paper towels because when you get it wet over and over again, they'll fall apart, and then you're gonna start painting on your jeans if you're not watching what you're doing. And I put it on my leg. It's just how I paint. It's a weird, I don't know. I don't know if it's weird or not, but that's what I do. So we're just gonna get into it. I'm just putting some paint on. I'm not trying to cover it. I'm not trying to get detail going here. This is just to be our base coat. If you've ever looked at a rock in nature, it's like 60 colors. There's no one color. So, and we're gonna be quick on almost all this stuff. It's gonna go from one to the other. Like I said, I have hundreds of models. You can hear them in the background. If you can see over my head, all those 3D printers are running right now. I'm doing a big Curse of Strahd build. Trying to build the entire castle and all the stuff in it, like all the maps in it. I've got a lot of stuff I've always got to paint. So it keeps me busy. So I had to, get quick at painting, otherwise I'd have a list of things to paint. And I was actually caught up until Bones 5 came, and now I have enough stuff to paint for probably the next 2 years, which I'm not complaining. I'll just get that whole base thing that I'll cover. So again, I'm just doing a light base coat over everything. If you look in the detail here, I don't know, let me get it over here. So you can see little skeletons, that kind of stuff. We're gonna get into that. But right now, that doesn't matter. So we're just doing the rock underneath. Like I said, painting is like putting on clothes. You do the base coat, and then you add layers on top of it. You put on your underwear, then you put on your jeans, you put on your socks, you put on, blah, blah, blah. You're just adding more detail on top of detail. So the color I'm using, like I said, is wrought iron. Obviously, this isn't wrought iron in really a sense. I have thought about using this wrought iron color to do a rust effect. When I do a rust effect, like I did on the on this piece, you see the chain has a rust kind of going on. To make that effect, all I use is some metallic. This is gunmetal. I mean, I don't really care what the color. And then I just use orange and use dry brush orange onto it. And then wipe it off, and then lather, rinse, repeat until you get it, to a point. Until you're happy. It's all that matters. Now, I'm just, when I paint, it's a mess. By the end of this, my hands will probably be covered in paint. I don't care. So again, this is what I'm going for. You can see the black, you can see the cracks in the black, that kind of thing. That is absolutely fine. And the reason why I like to do a lot of models at once is because with acrylic paint, by the time I'm done doing all these with the coat, they're dry and I can go to the next coat. No worries about, oh, the paint's mixing and now it's not doing that clear color like that. And again, these are acrylics. I'm not using enamels or lacquers or anything like that. So again, just taking the piece, giving it a... I didn't even load up the brush that time. I'm gonna hit the back of it. This is what Reaper looks like on if you get the bones. That's the material it's made out of. For that, I will just, in case I ever put it up, By the way, if you guys are in the chat, whatever like that, let me know. If you guys are into Bones 5, if there's, I don't want to say I have all of it. I don't. I stayed away from the Dynamo set. I didn't really see the use of me using like a Japanese style of miniatures. I don't really play towards that game. I didn't get any the Chronosphere stuff, and I didn't get the pirate ship just because if you follow me on Instagram, I have about a fleet of ships still. and I have all the printable scenery ships in a Kickstarter I bought a while back, so I could 3D print more. So I just didn't see the need of getting another ship. I did get all the pirates and all the sea monsters and that kind of stuff. If there's some particular you want to see me paint, let me know in the comments. Because I really, for most part, I don't really have anything in my mind where I'm like, that's the next thing. It's, I kind of want to do the Cyclops. I think the Cyclops will be cool from the Greek set. Just because I have ideas for Cyclops for a side quest. But, yeah, I mean, I want to paint the big spider. That's why I'm doing the base, but, yeah. Yeah, Bones 5 was a Kickstarter. So was, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I collect, like, for miniatures, I get in Kickstarters. I have pretty much everything from the terrain crate sets. That all started as a Kickstarter. If it's fantasy based, I usually always get the printable scenery stuff or Fat Dragon Games. Now I'm slowing down on it. Like printable scenery has Hagathorn Hollow right now. And I mean, I really want to get into it is because I saw it untested with Adam Savage, and Adam Savage is like my hero. But I probably won't get into it. I mean, I already own like 5 or 6 different villages, and then with my Chlorhaven set that I have, I can 3D print, you know, pieces to build any building I ever want. So it's one of those things of, I don't want to say it's a waste of money, because I think it's really cool either way, but I already have so much, I don't really have a place to put more stuff to. Now I got to start worrying about, well, where am I going to put this? And it's already taken up my whole downstairs, which is great. And then I have the studio upstairs, so. If you're looking for Kickstarters for minis, actually, you can still buy into the Bones 5, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Check it out. They reopened the Pledge Manager, and they're selling off the extra stuff. Now, it's not like the core set that I got. Here, I'll show you what. So the core set, I have it all up here in the studio. This big old box here, you know, it's got all some of the stuff on it. This is literally, I mean, mine was bulging at the seams, cram-packed with miniatures. I think it's under $200. You'll get probably like 200 miniatures out of this. Don't quote me on exact numbers. I never counted. There's just, I mean, they're in tons of, there's tons of miniatures in each bag. And you got a lot of them have to be assembly required, that kind of thing. So that's the core set. And they have those on the Pledge Manager. And then they have a bunch of the expansions. So this is the Brine Wind, so this is like shipwrecks and sea monsters and pirates and skeletal pirates. And I mean, this stuff's cram-packed. I mean, what you see me painting right now, this didn't even come out of the boxes. This was separate things that I pulled from. So it's, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's the most, I want to say it's the most miniatures I've ever gotten in a single haul, and I've bought, you know, I think the most I've ever bought, I got like a bonus at work, and I was just like, I want to build my collection, and I bought, don't get me wrong, Miniature Market had a sale. Miniature Market's a great place to go. I'm not endorsing them because they give me a deal or like that. I just watch them just like anybody else, and I buy when they, but I bought like, I think 6 bricks from them, or 7 bricks at one time. I got more from this. And for less money than buying 8 bricks, or 6 bricks, or 7 bricks, whatever it was. If you're looking to build a collection, I've been collecting for years of miniatures. If you like to paint, and you're not I don't have the, if you're gonna be I don't have the time, I don't have the patience, and I'm not talented enough, painting's not for you. You know, I mean, anybody could do this. I didn't go to art school or anything like that. I watched YouTube videos of people painting. Sorry, so a brick is from the official WizKids. Let me show you a booster box. I have a bunch still. They're in my closet of despair. Give me 1 second. So this is a booster box. You get them from WizKids. There'll be 4 miniatures in the box. There's always one, at least large, per box. And a brick is 8 of these boxes. So 8 times 4, 32. That's how many miniatures you get. These are pre-painted miniatures, though. You don't have to paint them like that if you don't want to. If you're looking to also get a bunch of miniatures for cheap, you see he's jumped into it. I think I'm doing fine. Oh, yeah. So what I use to start my collection, I can't pull it. It's buried in the closet. But Wizards of the Coast does have board games. The first one I got has a red dragon on it. I can't remember what it was at the moment. But it has a red dragon on it. If you just look up like Dungeons and Dragons board game, there was about 60 unpainted miniatures in that board game, and it was, I think, $60 for the board game, and it's a really nice board game. You can essentially play a mocked version of D&D. It's not 5e, but it's like playing D&D. You can play it by yourself even. But I bought it just for the miniatures. I bought a number of those, and they're great. Also, if you're looking to build, get a collection of miniatures, 3D printing is something to look at too. You can get a Photon, which is a resin printer. I don't recommend resin for somebody though who's, how do I put it? Faint of heart. Resin, it's not. These two are resin printers, and they're not. Resin's toxic. It's not nice to get in your hands, and by nice I mean it burns. It's unhealthy. It's not good to breathe in. There's an air filtration system in here that I installed that goes out my window, that pulls all the air out of these things and then pushes it outside. But resin printers, here's a 3D or resin printed miniature that I did. This was my skeleton army. He was a bannerman and the banner broke, so he just sits up here with me. But yeah, there's tons of ways to get into miniature collecting and building the collection. Yep. You notice I put some of these together but didn't actually glue them in. Sorry, you guys can't see. So again, I'm just doing a quick light brushing. I'm not trying to cover the whole thing. It's adding one layer. So that's pretty much everything. Now we're going lighter. So I'm going to go with the dark gray again. This is Craftsman paint. This is from Michaels. I'm not a craft snob. This is what you have to get it from here. You have to do this. No. It's not how I roll. For me, paint is paint. As long as it's acrylic, and as long as I haven't had a disaster from it or something like that. What I mean by that is some paint is just not... It clots or whatever from a brand or something like that. But all the like Folk Art, Americana, Craft Smart, I've never had a problem with any of them. So, again, just loading up the brush. Sorry, you guys can't really see the paint tray. What's FFG? Blueman, I don't know what that is. Initialized. Okay. Star Wars Legion. The game store I go to, they've got a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Pretty much my whole collection's fantasy. Although I'm a huge Star Wars fan, I just actually finished the. It's now not canon anymore, but I just finished the Darth Bane, the first book, in the Darth Bane trilogy. But I never really got into miniature collecting just because I don't really have a place to it, and if I start collecting Star Wars now too, I did as a kid. I had like every miniature you could think of. I had like a huge Death Star that would open up. I had Anakin, Darth Vader's lightsaber would open up, and it was the trench that Luke flew down to destroy the Death Star. I had a bunch of that stuff. I mean, they were micro machines though; they weren't like the game sets, but. Definitely awesome. But if you're looking at also like 3D printing, you can go on like places like Thingiverse. Everything on there is free to collect, like miniature wise. It's a great way if you're trying to build a collection. So again, I'm just hitting this in some spots. I'm not trying to cover the whole thing. I'm going even lighter on this one. You know, it's not loading the brush up a whole lot. So you can see, like, you can see the black, you can see the darker. And you can see some of the light. I'm trying to speed up a little bit here for you guys, so you can get more of the fun detail parts. But yeah, let me know too if because I have so much stuff to paint now. I was looking for a time for the channel to do painting stuff. And if that's what people are more interested in, I was doing live gaming on Saturdays. But, you know, I mean, I'd be more than happy just to go to paint instead, and then maybe do gaming later in the night. I don't have to work tomorrow. Sundays is my D&D day, so other than waking up and doing my prep for the game, I don't really have much to do. I mean, I still have to do the prep, but I generally always have an idea of what's going to go on. I just have to write the encounters. Because I write the story and stuff at other times. So here's the Catacombs. I'm just, again, as I'm adding layers, this is a better thing because it's carved. Using the paint with the, I'm not dry brushing, but it's hitting the detail spots. So now the detail is coming out more and more. Sorry, I know that light's got a little bit much on here. I want you guys to be able to see it all right. Sorry, I keep on trying to... I think I'm in camera and I'm not. So there you go. Just again, this is another color added, more details getting highlighted. Now again, what you guys are not seeing is I'm wiping a lot of the paint off on on my towel on my leg. This is not me dry brushing. I'm still applying a lot of paint at this point. This I want to get the underside. Although probably no one will ever see it. Still want to get it. Alright, so now these carvings are actually coming out more clear. You can see them. That's because the dark paint is in there and the lighter paint just kind of skims over it. I'm not trying to press it in. I'm not loading up the brush and, you know, dunking it in there. Alrighty. I think we've got, what, 2 pieces left, and then we're on to the next color. Like I said, this is pretty quick and easy. It's not a whole painful freak out process. So what we're gonna do, just because I want to do a little bit of variety here, I'm gonna do those skeletons real quick so you can see that. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm taking our skeleton bone. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way so you guys can see. So here's our skeletons here. And I'm going to have to hit this again because there's a bunch of other skulls and stuff throughout this that I'm going to want to hit, but I just want to show you guys. Normally what I do is I do all one color and just keep on doing it over and over again, and then I add in the details. But since these 2 pieces are mainly skeleton, simple enough. So this, I do want to get most of the paint off my brush, because I've got pretty much all skeleton here, but I want to lightly go through it. So I'm just as light as possible going over top of this. And the detail is going to start emerging. So I'm not applying any pressure at all. Trying not to, you know, flood any areas because I want that black to be in there. It's almost like a shadow. So already, I mean, I'm not even done yet, but you can already see now, just from this distance, the skeletons, the skulls separate. It's a very, very easy technique. Just putting a little bit on the brush, wiping most of it off. I mean, I'm not like cleaning the brush. I'm not putting any pressure on it. Just wipe most of the excess off. And then I just go in and very lightly, almost like mowing the lawn, you know, just going through and doing a row all the way back and forth. That's how you can do big swaths of skeletons and stuff real quick. If I was actually painting real skeletons, skeletons are the fastest things you can paint, in my opinion. Like I said, I did an undead army. I think I even did a live video of one of them, but I did it on Instagram, so I don't have a recording of it. But I did, like I said, 500 plus skeletons, and I think in a couple weeks. Had them all painted, and I was doing them in rows of 100 and so, because I had them broken down by unit. So there you go. That's one color, guys. One color with one technique, and that looks like a pile of skeletons from a distance. And I mean, this is not obviously ready, but we pop that in there, and it looks like a pile of skeletons, right? Now we're gonna have to do the skeletons around the base and that kind of stuff, but this base is not done, so I don't want to do that. Yeah, dry brushing, it's the simplest technique, but it's one of those things that, again, I don't consider myself a talented painter. I consider myself a, you know, technique painter. I know the techniques. I can't paint you the Mona Lisa, but I can, you know, I know the process of getting some of the stuff shaded in and that kind of thing. So this one's gonna be a little bit more difficult just because I can't see all the detail really well in this. I know he's skeletal, but I also want to do armor and stuff on him, so I'm going through his skeletal, and then I'm gonna go and do his armor after. So he's got a boot there, but his arm is right there. Looks like the rest of it's like fur and armor. So I'm still doing the same technique. I'm just doing it closer, and I have it close to my face so I can see it. That's the only reason. Let's see if the camera will focus on it. So yeah, it's just, there's our dwarven skeleton guy. Most of it's fur. Since we already started on him, let's try add a little bit more detail to him. Give him some armor. So this color is from Army Painter again. Dwarven bronze. It's a great color. It's very unique. It's almost like a copper and a bronze together. So it looks like his helmet. I'm using the same brush, by the way. I'm not cleaning it off. I don't care about that kind of stuff. So, and then, I mean, the boots look like they're boots. So I'm gonna do his pauldrons. Paint is waterier than water, a little bit waterier than, I don't know how, I can't talk. Watery, or more waterier than I remember. I think waterier is a word. There we go. So added his pauldrons. Looks like he's got some chainmail and stuff under his beard. I think that'll, is that chainmail? Yeah, we'll go through and do his beard and stuff later. So we'll get more color in there. I actually kind of want to clean up the sides and do stone since he's laying in a stone sarcophagus. So that's the kind of cool thing when you've already worked through colors, you can just go back and hit those colors because they're already in your dish. So just going in through with the gray. Kind of cleaning up my overage a little bit. All right. All right, let's add some more light to these pieces. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a standard gray. Nothing special or fancy. It should brighten up these pieces quite a bit, and then we're gonna go and do a lot more detail work on them. So I don't want that brush anymore. Going back to the big guy. Nope, too much. Too much. So if you ever have that problem where you put too much on, when you apply acrylic, you can immediately just wipe it off with your hand. So I really don't care too much about this round side here, because most of this I'm going to do is dirt. A little bit too much there. Got a little bit too much there. So with this shade of lighter, you can already see it's starting to, more of the detail is starting to pop. You're getting that stone definition, you're getting all the different colors. Then we add more distinctively different colors like browns and stuff into this. it's really going to make the stonework pop out even more. So there you go. Like I said, it's far more visible now with that stonework. Oh, I already did that. I want to hit this again because I realized shortly into this I was using the older colors for some of this. By the way, if you think you've got brush strokes that are very evident and you don't like them, you can just wipe them off with your hand. Just get a quick swipe off, and it will blend them in. So there you go. Just adding those layers, and we're at only at, I mean, if you count the black that we started out with, you know, we're already at 4 layers. Sorry if that light is too much. I know how bright it seems to be making this stuff seem. Oops, sorry. So, yeah, I'm going very light on this. I want the edges, the carve work. I'm letting my paintbrush tell the story. That's kind of how it works. I'm not trying to paint the whole thing. I want all those layers to keep on building and building and building. Like, so for the most of the dwarven stuff, we're already almost done with that, just because I'm not going to really add a whole lot more color to the dwarven stuff. It's carved out of stone. You know, it's got a lot of layers to it. So, it starts to look more stonish, right? I think stonish is a word. So here's a good example. Here we got our dwarven statue, right? So we're gonna get a little bit of paint on our brush, wipe probably 95% of it off, and I'm gonna start lightly going through here. and just brightening him up. Already, I'd be very happy with that on my table. You know, it from a distance, stone, dwarf, not hard to, you know, it's not a player sitting at the table is going to know exactly what that is. I'm not entering this in a contest or something like that, or like that. And it's, you know, the effect is really well there. So let's nail these guys really quick. These guys have skulls in there. I gotta separate the what has skulls and what doesn't. So I make sure I go through and hit them with the skeleton paint. So those guys. I'm sorry again, I need to pay attention to where my hand's at and where the camera's at. Now I will be gluing these together. I'm holding them together right now. I like them being fitted while I'm painting them, so I don't have you know, oh, well that's not there, that's uneven or whatever like that. I want it to be as it will be when they're together. Alrighty. You notice I've left the skeletal guy kind of alone. I don't want to mess with him right now, just because I don't need these grays and that kind of stuff on him. Same thing with the book. If you've noticed, I've kind of avoided going near the book, because again, it'll look better when I go through and paint the parchment color on the book. Alright, so I think we've got all of the grays done. Now we're going to start adding some other colors in here. So some of the stuff I mean I already want to call done. The dwarven stuff, I don't really want to add more color to them. For my dwarven set, I already have like one set that is a certain particular color. It's actually a green, but they're well enough for what I want. I will leave the book though, because the book's not done. But we can finish the book right now. Let's do that. So what I'm going to use for the book, I thought I had a linen, or I'm going to use a linen color. I have a parchment, but it's like literally this color. It's just a little bit lighter. It's almost skeletal color. So to give you an example of the linen versus here's our skeleton, here's the linen. It's just a little bit shade lighter. But linen, parchment, both of them are great for doing books. Now for this, I'm going to have to go through for a couple coats, because I want it to be a solid color. And then there is a technique that I will be using on this that I unfortunately can't show you guys. Not for any legal reasons or like that. I'm not prepared for it. But what I do with books is I have a bunch of things printed that they're like little, I don't want to say microscopic, but they're little pages of books, high detailed and printed. And so what I do is I print those, cut those out, and then I soak them and glue them into the book. And it looks like the book is like it's actually got pages and stuff in it. I'm not detailed enough or have the eyesight anymore to actually paint the inside of the book. Doing the overlay, think of it like a decal for your model cars. It's just as easy, way faster, and I get a great result every time. All right. So I'm gonna let that dry because I need it to obviously dry so I can add another coat to it. Because right now, if you look at it, it's a little bit. Camera will zoom in soon. Come on. Come on. You can see how runny it is right now. As it dries up, it'll get more of a solid color. Alright, let's get our dirt in there. So for dirt, this is my recommended color for all dirt. I know you can't see it yet because the camera's trying to zoom in. Territorial Beige. It's made by Apple Barrel. It is outstanding. It's a great color. But I also want to add a little bit more darkness to it. So before we go with Territorial Beige and use that we'll use that again, two-toned. We're going to go through with a raw umber first, and we're going to get another paint tray. And just so you guys know, I mean, these paint trays, these are the exact same paint trays I started with back years ago. You don't need to have, super expensive. I think I got these at the dollar store for $1, the whole set. Some things are great to, pay a lot of money for. Some things you don't need to at all. So, just gonna hit the edges with some dirt. So I'm just getting a little bit of outline. Now with these, with a bunch of rubble and stuff, I might cover some of the rubble. What I'm going to do after that is I'm going to go in with another light brushing of like a gray, and I can go over those stones again. Like I said, it's adding layer upon layer. But there's no problem of going back over and reapplying a color. How I decide what color to put on, one is totally my preference, but two is honestly how much of paint do I have to use. So I did the whole thing in one go because gray because that was the majority color. Kind of gives it a whole new look, right? Simple and easy. So these have all like a rock base. I don't think I'm gonna mess these. I'm gonna set these aside for the skulls, because we have to do those still. Again, this is just a quick and simple technique. I'm being very light with the brush. This is where practice comes in. Trying to avoid all those stones. Now, I'm hitting some. Not a lot of them, but I'm hitting some. That's alright. I think... Yeah, we'll just add him to the skeleton pile. I don't think I'm going to do a base for him. And I'll call him done. There's no more need. That's just don't... Sorry. There's no real point to do anything else on him. Honestly, I wish I had more of those. I could fill them with a room or something like that. Now, one thing about this, I'm trying not to go too dark. Oops, sorry. Where are we at? I'm trying not to go too dark because I want that shading to kind of show through. So I'm just lightly hitting the spots. That way, some of the gray will still show through. This thing's covered in skeletons too, so sorry if I'm taking so long. I'm trying to avoid the skeletons as much because I want, again, the bone-like look to show through as well. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Get a little bit more on the edges, though. Yeah. Can't hate that. Now, mind you, a lot of these pieces are not going to be in the same... I know they're all going to look kind of similar in colors and that kind of thing. These are not going to all be on the table at once kind of thing. I mean, they could be, though. I mean, they're all made of, you know, similar style and that kind of thing with paint jobs that are... That's the thing, if you paint a lot of stuff similar, it matches together. So, it works together. But I do try to have a unique style to a lot of my stuff too, of color choices and palettes and that kind of stuff. Now the brown here, let's move that over. I mean, it for me it just breaks up and makes the gray all the more visible and seeable and makes it more distinct, which I really like. I like it a lot. I see a bunch of spider eggs in there, and I'm still trying to decide on what color. See the spider eggs, I'm feeling like some sort of sickly green. Like a wasabi mixed with like a white or a gray. And if you're wondering, I actually do absolutely hate spiders, but I for some reason love to use them in D&D as monsters. Simple enough, right? Alright, for this piece, though, this is going to be the oddball of the group. I want to have dirt in here as well, not just stone. So I'm just going to start mixing in dirt. So how I'm doing this is I'm just putting dirt, you know, brown and stuff, where, you know, you would find dirt, you know, on the corners and the crevices. Again, using my finger to wipe some of that on there. I could use a rag as well, but my hands are just good. So there we go. Alrighty. We'll wash this brush off a little bit because I want to hit that linen again on the book. Probably would help if I had the paint tray with linen on it, right? Sorry, I want to make sure you guys can see it. Now, like I said, these pages are not going to be this clean blankness. I will later go in, once this is all dried, and put in actual, like a graphic with magic or runes or something along those lines. And I'm sorry I can't show that to you just because I don't have it prepped. I have to find those scripts, and I'll probably have to go to like a Staples or something I haven't printed out. Although I've got all the 3D printers in the world, my inkjet printer is not very happy with me. Probably because I hit it a lot. I'm not very happy with my inkjet. It's the devil. There you go. And then we'll do one more coat on that later and do the bookmark, and then we'll call that one done. Alright, let's get Territorial Beige going. Wasn't me. Yeah, look at the brush a little bit wash off. I don't really wash my brush all that much while I'm painting, in between stuff. Don't really need to. Never really needed it. So this is just the highlighting portion. I'll make sure you guys can see this. This is to give the dirt more of a pronounced look. Now for this, I probably want to use a bigger brush. I'm just right now at the point of I don't want to do it anymore. You know, I want to switch out. But if I was just painting this piece, I would have switched to a bigger brush, like a larger brush, just because I can do the area better. But yeah, it's starting to look like something. So I'll quickly go through, do the edges of the other ones really quick, and we'll be on to the next step. I was using my fingers to blend in a little bit of that paint. There you go. Again, this is like a quick, easy technique, guys. It's... You wouldn't believe how much stuff you can knock out. You just practice it, you know what you're doing. I mean, picking your colors before you start, too. It's very helpful. I don't really want to do the spider nest thing. We'll do this one. You know what? Since we gotta do our linen, let's do some more linen in another way. So, spider silk, imagine that's kind of like linen, right? So again, I'm gonna try and dry brush this on because I want the weaves to show through of the spider web. So what I'm trying to do, by the way, is I'm not going again, like, so I can see the weaves are running, you know, what do you call it? I don't want to go perpendicular to the weaves. I want to run along with them with my brush strokes. Now what I might do later is go over this guy again, but using like a brown wash. So the wash will get into the seams as well and give it like a... It almost changed the linen color, like a sickly brown color, like it's been there for a while. There you go. There's our spider nest man hanging. You know, it'd be hanging upside down. And you know what? I'm going to give the eggs a go over, because I know spider eggs are essentially egg sacs wrapped up in that same linen. So what we're going to do is go over them too. There you go. I still think I'm going to add a little bit of green to them too. That'll just make me happy. Alright, since we got linen on the brush already, we'll give the book one more coat. Perfect. Makes me happy. Alright, well, let's start hitting some of those skeletons. It's already been an hour and 20 minutes. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't think it'd be that much. Thought I could fly through this, right? Actually, real quick, I'm going to hit our dwarven friend. I'm going to get his boots in that dark brown. Sorry, I'm not under the camera. Sorry, I'm trying to really see what I'm doing here, guys. It's my fault. Doing it again. Then you know what? Since he's a corpse, he's got that long beard. I want the beard to be white, if I can. I don't want to go digging for a white though, so we're gonna use a gray, a lighter gray. Gray beard. It's way too much paint for just this little thing, but man. There you go. No, it's hard to really see the detail of it just because it's so small. But yeah, it's good enough. Except he's got little toesies sticking through with skeleton feet on it, so I want to get that. Get his little toesies. There's little toesies in there. So, cool. But yeah, I think he's good enough. I'm going to add a little bit of other gray for, because like I said, he's lying on a stone on the bottom of it. So, I'm going to do the outline of it. Alright, and then... So now we've got our little sarcophagus thing. Let's pop him in. There you go. Cool enough, right? Again, what I said before, I try and paint for the table. I've never have, never will. I don't want to say never will. I just don't really go for the competition, you know, trying to enter stuff into contests. If I was trying to do that with all my stuff, I would have mountains of things still to paint. I mean, I have mountains now because of bones, but I didn't notice that's a dagger, so I want to go through and do that again. So that little guy right there, let's give him a dwarven hilt just because I have that paint there. That's a lot of times how I paint stuff, is what paint do I have already used? Now, the one thing I'm going to have to do, though, is the blade. So we'll have to do some silver paint later. But let's get on with the skeletons. Because, like I said, we're actually nearly done. Just doing a little bit of detail work. Here's another thing, too. When you're painting, you're going to see details. The more you look at it, things are going to start to stand out to you. Like, oh, well, I didn't notice that. Like, I'm noticing this guy's actually got, like, leather straps holding him to that rock. So I'm going to go in and try and get the leather straps. Now, this is not normally the brush I would use for it, but I'm confident enough in what I've got to be able to do it. There you go. Skeleton tied to a rock. Pretty cool. I'm going to leave these guys out for a little bit just because I do have another plan for these rocks. Another piece of detail. So this is not actually a ram's skeleton head. I thought it was. It's not. It's actually just a ram's head. So it's going to need a new plan of attack. Get the little leather thong that's holding it together. We're going to use that light gray again that we used on the dwarf for his beard. We're going to do a light dry brushing of the head. And since it's was presumably a former live ram head, I think when I use the red for the bookmark, I'm going to do some red, you know, like it was just recently removed and strung up there. There you go. Your two little skulls in there. Again, just doing the detail, that's what makes stuff pop out, right? So, on this piece, got a whole bunch of bones. Now this is really tedious kind of stuff here. I like to use a very straight brush for bones, because I can just line up on them and just give them a quick tap tap and you got the whole thing done. Now, I know this is a bit tedious, but again, it is worth it in the end for the final piece. Alrighty. Pop that guy in there. That, and there you go. Right? Can't go wrong with that. Couple more bones I spotted. Simple enough, right? Alrighty. We got one last piece, really. And then the last part is maybe some touch-ups, but honestly, that's pretty much it, guys. It's simple enough to do if you got the patience. Is that a skull or is that a... I think it's a skull. I'm gonna... All right. So guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's some stuff I'm going to touch up. I got to do these iron wrought fences for this thing. I've got to glue stuff together. But honestly, that's pretty much it. That's mostly the color. I'll probably go through and do a little bit of light green on stuff just to give it like mossy. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. It's been a pleasure. We're going to be doing, I think, painting every Saturday at 10 o'clock. So thank you again for joining us. Hit us up in the comments. Give us a follow. You know, let us know what you guys want to see. If you missed this, check us out on YouTube, that kind of stuff. You can watch all of our other videos and that kind of stuff if you missed, you know, the first part or like that. But, yeah, thanks again. My name's JP with Leprechaun Fantasy Workshop. Let your paintbrush tell your story. You know, tell a great story, guys. I'll see you in the next one.